Good afternoon all. Now we are going to start the second class today, and today we will attempt to complete our pre-scene analysis, and then we will go into some of the questions as well. I will share my screen with you. Right. So I think we completed a few pages yesterday of our pre-scene, right? Now, going through the background, we found out it was formed 16 years ago by some of the lecturers who are quite passionate about this particular industry, and they have been quite successful, and they've got 90 professionals and 34 support staff working with them, and the organization is matrix structure as well. And now we also looked at what are the possibilities that they've got from a growth perspective, looking at their strengths and also looking at the opportunities that they've got. And we looked at the founders and how they actually started off. They said in 1999 they acquired an office space in order to expand their consultancy services. So primarily they started off with consulting, and there are 3 areas that they consult in, and that is engineering, public relations, and legal, right? So these are the specialist areas that they consult in. And now we go into the alternate energy, right? And the reasoning behind alternate energy. They started in year 2000. At that time, this alternate energy, technology wise as well as, it was not all that up there, because and we didn't get that much support from the governments and the others. But now currently they are in a very good space where you can see the sales have improved. There's a lot of support from the governments and even the other stakeholders. There's a lot of buy-in to this type of alternate energy, right? And also there is a a lot of lobbying around greenhouse gases and things like that. So a lot of governments and countries are looking into how to reduce their carbon footprint, and even the companies now they take this very, very seriously, include it as part of their GRI reporting, right? And include how can they work with this carbon footprint, how to reduce it. Okay. So you can see various international treaties have led to most countries agreeing to reduce their use of fossil fuel as a matter of some urgency. This again, we said, creates opportunity to AEN, because they're very specialized. They got into this game quite early, and therefore they are in a position to consult, right? Now look at the industry data. We had a look at it, how the growth and how the wind power generating capacity, right? And another interesting point is the renewable energy has no impact whatsoever on the commodity market. So what does that mean? Can someone talk to me on that? What is that? How does that impact?
Well, there is no commodity price risk.
Right. Okay. So can you elaborate a bit on that, about the fossil fuels and the commodity markets?
Well, fossil fuels, they have this problem of demand and supply, that the supply is limited while the demand for energy is too high. Whereas for renewable energy, there is infinite supply to meet that demand in the form of solar energy, wind energy. So in that form, renewable energy is kind of safer in terms of commodity price risk.
And by having commodity, what happens? There's another secondary market created, isn't it?
Yeah, but can you clarify a bit?
So with the commodity market being there, now if we don't have this commodity market, in a sense, it is a good thing, right? Because the prices are not artificially inflated, deflated. That aspect, that risk is not there, isn't
Okay.
it? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then look at the competing technologies. So I want someone else to talk about what they read about these competing technologies and what opportunities that they see with AEN. So we have got wind power, and then we've got wave power, and we also got heat pumps and solar panels, right? And the biograde things, the burning high the organic waste, you use that, and that's another form. So there's quite a few that we can use, right? So what do you think? Any views on this? They have gone into different some specifics on each one of them, but I want you to give a summary version. What do you think? Any ideas? Yep. So is Roland there? So can someone, Jai, are you able to talk to us?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the wind market is a primary market. They are well versed with it. So they have their critical success factor in terms of the engineering competence and the legal and PR associated with it. They can transfer that in the wave market because it combines turbines, but it's underwater. So the engineering is kind of similar, and it can be used in wave power, and it's a new product for us. But the market for it might not be that high, or it might not be that feasible because the technology is not that developed.
Okay.
So it's a very risky thing. In comparison to that, solar power is much more safer, but AEN would have to invest a lot of technology into it, and to understand the engineering, to understand the legal basis and the market for it. So there'll be considerable investment in solar power as well, and that could be a new product for them for the existing markets as well as new markets.
Right. Okay.
The others are very, very small scale heat pumps and biodigesters and biomass. They are what you say, they're a very limited practical use for AEN. The projects are very, very small, so it would be better if it can take larger projects which are mostly for wind farms or for solar panels.
Okay, that's a good observation. Anyone else who wants to talk about it? I think you're quite correct, Jaya, because we're looking at the smaller projects. If AEN is to invest in from a strategic perspective, it needs to look at areas where there is significant growth as well. They have been in this the wind turbine market for the past 16 years, and there is significant growth, but now they need to look at another product. So what are some of the models that you will be using for this? Anyone else? If you are to choose certain projects, right? In this case, AEN has an option, right, to either go into another new form of a product with their current existing product, right? And if they are going to do that, how will they choose this particular product? On what basis? So we've got 4-5 products that they can consider. If they're considering those, what are some of the models that you will use?
Hands off.
Yes. Anything else?
There is BCG matrix.
Correct.
These are the two primary.
Yeah. So we will be using these ones because it gives you that framework, and to see, where is the wind turbine market, right? Where do you think in the BCG, where would it be?
The wind turbine market is a star. It's a high market share for AEN because it's the leader, and it's high growth rate. Every year, if you see the previous chart, the growth is tremendous. So it's high growth, high market share.
Right. So, and where do you think, from a strategic point of view, where do you think they will go into, from a what product do you think they should be choosing then? The next one.
Solar power.
Right. So on what basis do you think solar power is the next one?
Because it's equally the prices for photovoltaic cells and the technology for it have reduced. So it's easier or more efficient to produce solar power. Accordingly, the clients will prefer a manufacturer of solar power just as likely as they would for wind power. So they would be good in consulting for solar power clients, and the market for solar power is very high. There are multiple countries in Africa or China or Latin America where you can grasp the sun or the power of the sun and use it to generate electricity.
Right. Yeah.
So solar power would be my next bet.
Right. Okay. So what you said was, you selected. So first thing is, what you did was you analyzed where are we currently with my current product, where is it, and you said it's in the growth stage. So it is in a good space. We are in a position where we can expand with our current product as well into other areas if necessary, other markets if necessary, right? But the next product, now we are in a position, you say, to pick up another product, right? And that you would say you would choose solar because you given the justification, the market is ready, the technology wise it's less, it's costing us less, right? And we are in a better position to pick that rather than wind power. I think, why wouldn't you have chosen wind power? Because it's still quite early days.
No, you mean wave power?
Sorry, yeah, wave power, yes.
Yeah, it's risky because the technology is not there,
Yes.
or we'll have to invest substantially in R&D to develop our own technology, then bring the cost down again for us to even break even for this product.
Right. Okay. Prabin, you wanted to comment something. Are you able to talk to us?
Yeah, what I can understand, wind power is mainly for commercial purpose, whereas solar power is best suited for domestic purpose. And every third megawatt to one solar power is planted in America. So there is a huge market for the solar panel itself.
So that's an interesting area that we are going into, because earlier we were consulting with big companies, so we are working with larger organizations. Now from a B2B perspective, that's what we were doing. Now we are going into B2C, right? So we are trying to go into the maybe into the domestic and more consumers, right? Now in that case, maybe we'll have to change our strategy, how we work with them. Correct? It's going to be a very different way of working. and a different structure. So suddenly, even though we say solar power is our next candidate, but we need to look at how we're going to structure, right? How we're going to structure our whole organization. Are we able to take this on, right? Because it's more like a downstream as well. Then are we going into partnership with others to sell these? How are we going to do this whole scenario is something that we need to think of as well, right? And let us go into biomass. Yeah, they've spoken about biomass. Again, what we mentioned is it is a bit too small for us right now. So now let us we stick to our solar, and let's go into the next area. Now, academic research. What do you think of the academic research and our AEN? What do you think? What are the advantages, disadvantages? How would we analyze this part of it?
The research is a significant part for AEN because a lot of patents have been used by Isabella, who's a director of research, and which has benefited AEN. It's all based on this strong research and the belief that they have that this research will help both AEN and the world to grow better and to adopt sustainable renewable energy. So and plus it's a lot of PR for AEN because every article will be published under their name, and that will give them good publicity and word of mouth for customers who will be like, oh, these people, in addition to having the knowledge, they have the practical experience to put it into practice.
Yeah, and they will also, this will be very good for their corporate social responsibility as well, isn't it? I mean, yes, from one hand, there is a commercial aspect to it, definitely, but also when it comes to their CSR and the reporting aspect, what they are contributing to society, there is quite a bit that they do because they're quite passionate about this area, so they're in a good position to participate and also work with the academics in the field. Now, by working with the academics in the field and the universities, again, this is where the innovation comes through, right? You're going into new territories, and as a company you should be open to this kind of new ideas, right? And new things. So you should be actually taking on changes. That's quite easily. You should be able to take these things on because the new technologies, new things will be coming on very fast, right? Anything else that you want to talk about?
I wanted to ask about knowledge management systems.
Yes.
Will it be applicable to AEN? Like, if AEN wants to install a knowledge management system, what kind of question can it come at a strategic level?
Yes. I want to ask anyone else if they are aware what a knowledge management system is. If they are, if you can tell me what it is first, because it's good to understand that part of it prior to launching into that answer. Anybody else there who understands what knowledge management is? Thanks for asking that question. That's pretty. It's quite applicable.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nikhil, any idea?
The knowledge management, basically, I think what it means here is that because AEN has a 16 years of experience in setting up the projects, implementing and concluding the projects, so they have this database of different types of projects dealing with different people, different markets within the same country, and different situations with government. So they can use those knowledge management in a more like a tech-based system, wherein if they want to go for a new project, they can just say that, okay, some keywords in their database, okay, wind energy for 3 megawatt plant, and then all the research reports that they have made in the last 16 years, they pops up, and the people going for those projects or the account managers, they can use those experiences going forward.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Nikhil. It's exactly that. Basically, you've given a really good example and good explanation. Basically, when the you can see in most of the companies that we work, the knowledge is with the people and it's in their heads, right? When they walk out, the knowledge of that of particular process or the IP walks out as well. This is a big issue in many companies, right? So what they try to do is to have processes in place and also systems in place to capture this knowledge. Now, to AEN's the industry that they're in, definitely we need to capture this knowledge, because you get very specialist people, innovative products, new projects that they're doing at the cutting edge of technology as well. So there has to be this kind of knowledge management, definitely, because at the end of the day, even if they are to sell the company, right, if they're going to expand, these are the things that will take them. This is a huge asset that they've got, right, which they can work with, and there's a lot of value in it. So certainly knowledge management will play a significant role, and how to structure the data as well as accessing, then security will play a significant role as well. Yeah, Jay, anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, so my question was, if we were to install it in here in AEN, would we have to detail the entire all the processes as per the text, or how do we give the answer for it? Like,
right. So it
at a
will
strategic
be,
level.
yeah, from a strategic level. Why? So first is, why would you do it? Right. What is the reason? Is it linked to our strategic objectives? What is the risk of not doing it if you didn't have one? And then we look at, well, the ROI for that particular project as well. Then we are looking at a project, right? A project, and it's an IT project. So because it's a system involved, and of course there are lots of people in the organization involved, so you need to collaborate, you need to work with the key stakeholders. So it will be like a normal IT project, but it'll go across the organization, because it's important that everybody captures their information into this knowledge management system, and it should be accessible by everybody, right? And also, hence, there should also be security, quite a lot of security. Then we look at the disaster recovery as well, because now you've captured everything. It's one thing to capture it, but how do you sustain it is another thing, right? So did that answer your question?
Yeah, plus change management for
Of
the
course,
IT project,
yes.
and convincing them.
Yes. Right. Now, the people, if you've never ever done this type of project, in the sense, knowledge management, people will be reluctant, right, to give certain things out, because that means they feel, the company was dependent on me before for the last 16 years, because I'm the one who knows how to do something, right, do this activity. Now suddenly it's put into this system and anybody can access it, and person with that particular experience or expertise, they know exactly what to do, because this is how it was done before as well. So these type of people will be reluctant to give information, and there are people in this company, the people have been there for some time, so there would be resistance to change for sure.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, good, thanks. It's a very, very good question that you asked. Now, what is AEN's mission statement, right? It's sustainable energy for the world. Very small like a statement, quite brief, but if you look at Google's mission, right, it's something somewhat similar. So even though today it's a 90 odd people organization, you need to see they have got a big vision, right? So the strategy is linked to this big vision, right? And you look at it and say, well, the company's strategy objectives all should be linked to this mission statement that they're talking about, right? So it's saying the company also intends to continue to research and explore ways to make alternate energy sources available, a viable alternative to fossil fuels for everybody, right? So this is how they reach out to the world. They're trying to make it accessible for anybody and everybody, right? However, there are two strategies, two main strategic objectives: create shareholder wealth and encourage the use of alternatives to fossil fuel, right? So creating shareholder wealth is of main thing for them. Now, again, they mention that, and then let's look at each area, right? What sort of service they offer, right? What about the engineering? Anyone who can tell me the potential the engineering has? This is what they do, fair enough, but what potential does it have? Anyone?
In terms of project management, the most potential is in project management, that they can utilize their operations and project management skills to construct and design wind farms.
Okay. And anyone else? What else can you see? So these engineers specialize in this area, right? So you mentioned that project management, and are we in a position to actually get them to work in with other parts of the world? Is that something that we want to think about? What do you say for that?
Meaning new markets?
Correct.
Well, they should be willing to shift and get out of breezeland. So we'll need to have hire such staff who can do it. Otherwise, we'll have to provide sufficient incentive for them to move out and travel.
Yeah, that's correct. But that's an opportunity that they have, and also maybe that they can stay in one place, but also provide consultation to companies who are overseas by staying in where they are. Traveling, you need not stay in that particular location all the time, but maybe a remote consultation is also a possibility that they can offer, right? So that's because we are looking at expertise here. We're looking at specialists. You see, because of technology, the capabilities of technology now, surgeons who are specialized in one thing, who are living in one country, can be reached by people even from the most remotest part of the world, as long as there's good internet connection, right? So that's the kind of opportunity that's available here, where you can get their knowledge out to other parts of the world, because they are quite specialists, right? We've also looked at turbines, right? We'll come to that. And then we talk about legal. Now, what about the legal area? What can we do here? What are the opportunities?
They can expand into solar by gaining that knowledge and recruiting people in other products who are well versed in other products, and in turn provide consulting to such clients and expand their market within Breezeland and outside both.
Right.
So that is one. Existing opportunities for wind farms only, in which they are very well specialized.
Okay.
But others for which they would either need to recruit or learn again.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, here also
Yeah.
they said that they require permission from local governments, which clearly means that the legal team is continuously working with government and making relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So they leverage these relationships in the same market by launching new products like solar and all, like everyone is saying.
Right. Okay. So go into a new product because they already have got that relationships with the existing markets, the people. Yeah. So they also, I think, Prabin, you mentioned legal can be outsourced. So can you elaborate a bit on that?
Okay, that was me. See, when you look into a legal part, when you enter a new country altogether,
Mm-hmm.
it you may not be in a position to know in and out of the law of that particular country.
Mm-hmm.
See, for example, in Middle East there might be one law. You go to Europe, every country might have their own laws.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot just enter a country with your own legal knowledge and do it. So it is better you get in touch with the local companies or you do an outsourcing. You are good in engineering, fine, but when you get into legal, it is more of issues. So when a problem comes, you shouldn't be stuck in between.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to do an outsourcing with the local people, I guess that can be a better option.
So what you're mentioning is collaborate with the local firms, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point as well, because we don't know the some of the laws, rules, regulations in those particular areas, but also some of the things that we can do to see is, now the legal firm, we don't know how much whether they are doing a lot of back office work. This is an area that if they want, the back office side of it can be outsourced to another area. But I like the fact that you mentioned, collaboration. If you want to go into other countries, you can collaborate with the local partners, like the local legal firm, which is quite important. Otherwise, we don't know the laws and regulations. So now they say many applications are approved on the basis of written applications. Some are rejected. So they provide a lot of advice, right? So they are appearing, so they appear, right? So there's a lot of background work, I think, which can be done even outside, not necessary that they need to be in this particular country, right? If it is possible. PR, is there anything that you can talk about the PR? Now this again is a good thing where we have a good PR team. If we are going ahead with another project, another product itself, we are in a position to actually work with this PR team to help us promote our product, right? Because already they have got good experience with one, so it's a different product, how to work with certain authorities. They would have the knowledge and how to work with the press, etc., etc. They will have a good knowledge of that, right? This will help us. And they also say it's a one-stop shop, right? So we basically, this company provides the legal, engineering, and the consulting services of all these to the clients, and it's easy and makes things very easy for the clients, right? So, and they also mention AEN is the largest consultancy of its type in Breezeland, right?
A small question here.
Yes.
They said that they may be possible to persuade the local press and also persuade local politicians to overrule objections. I mean, does it ring an alarm for potential ethical breach?
It does, right? It depends what it is, right? And it depends what the situation is. So you can lobby to overrule certain things, but you need to say how it is done, how the act is carried out, right? There was one situation in one of the cases, case studies, where they mentioned where the chairman of the company is a prominent person, and he, basically took this other person in another company, took him to a very expensive restaurant, and the way it was, whole thing was carried out to influence the person was very unethical, right? So the lobbying part is quite a normal thing, but how you do it is what the the ethics come into play, right? Say, for example, this particular company, if the chairman or the CEO of the company is very well known, he's a very prominent figure, but then he uses that to muscle in and just bulldoze over some ruling, right, that was by the government, then and it can be done via either working with the politicians in a very wrong manner. There's bribery involved, or there's some expensive holidays involved, etc., etc. That is not something that is ethical, right? But of course you can do the normal lobbying aspect of it, and which is quite all right. So the how of it is the most important, because you remember when we ask the question, the ethical situations, they're saying, is it legal, right? There is a question that you need to ask, is it legal, right? Sometimes it is unethical, but it's not illegal,